Hello friends, welcome to my channel Creating Essence. I am Megan and I'm so glad you're here today. I would like to introduce you to a new member of our family. This, my friends, is John Jr. Some of you who follow us on Instagram may remember that a couple months ago, maybe the end of June, I posted about my buddy Ferdinand, my sourdough starter that I had made from wild-caught yeast myself, and I was so excited. I purchased this book on Amazon. No, I'm not an affiliate. I just read reviews and I liked what I read about this, and I really loved it. The book really breaks it down kind of on my more scientific brain level about how sourdough works, how wild yeast is caught, and really made it easily understood for me, and the processes, as well as the kind of bare bones, absolutely necessary equipment type of thing for how to do a great artisan style sourdough. It's also filled with all sorts of recipes for using your starter so many different ways, and I was really pumped. So I took the plunge and caught myself a wild yeast sourdough starter. Sadly, I didn't really understand everything I was looking at. So on about day 7 of Ferdinand's life, I thought he had died. There was a little bit of scum on top of the thing and I thought it was mold. So I dumped him out. That was a sad day. I was like, man, I need to study that book some more and figure out where I went wrong. I know there are a lot of great YouTube videos from real sourdough experts, and I really felt well equipped, but no one really mentioned that sometimes your sourdough starter can grow a little fuzz, and it's okay. Can you see that little line in there? That's hooch. That's normal. And on top of it, there's still a little something. I'll show you the view from the top. It looks a little foamy. If I were to let this go overnight, it would look almost fuzzy, but that's all really normal, and I had no idea. So Ferdinand went into the trash.
You got the hooch, baby.
So not long after Ferdinand met his end, we went on vacation to New York. And my brother-in-law, John, is actually an awesome cook and amazing baker. He caught his own wild yeast sourdough starter, I think he said about 4.5 years ago. And he was so kind to share a bit with me that I brought home from New York on vacation. So that is why our new sourdough starter is John Jr. Everybody around the house calls him by name. He's kind of a living being who stays in our kitchen. And tonight, John Jr. is going to help me show you all how we have reinvented our Saturday morning bagel tradition. However, like I mentioned in my 100 Days of Change video, we're really trying to do gluten-free unless it's from flour that I have ground myself. So that's what we've done the last few weeks, and it's turned out pretty great. Like I said, we're from New York. We are real New Yorkers. We know good New York bagels, and these are pretty good. So here's how we do it. First, we're gonna put in our bowl about 1.5 cups of the sourdough starter. Now we're gonna add about 1.5 cups of warm water. Now we're gonna add about a tablespoon of avocado oil. You really can use any kind of oil that you prefer, but we like this avocado oil. Now we're gonna add about a tablespoon of raw honey, about 2.5 teaspoons of pink Himalayan sea salt, and about 6 cups of fresh ground wheat flour. Now I'm putting on my dough hook. You can certainly do this by hand. I just have the luxury of a stand mixer. We're gonna mix this just until it comes together. And then we're gonna let it sit for about 10 minutes. This is just to let things start developing and give it a little bit of time before we really do the hardcore kneading. Now the dough is a bit stiff. It's a bit firm and hard, but that's okay. That's all normal. Now that it's all actually come together to a dough, I'm gonna cover it with a damp towel. Don't worry, it's clean. We just roughed the stains around here, and let it sit for about 10 minutes. During that time, we're gonna feed John Jr. Isn't he cute? Now the general rule with sourdough is that it's best to weigh your flour and your water when feeding your starter. But I have kind of gotten to know what it looks like, and for me, it's a 1/3 cup measure. The flour is a little less and the water is full to the top. You'll figure it out for yourself. And then I just take a spatula and stir it around gently until the whole thing is mixed. It mixes together easily and gets nice and smooth. And then I just scrape down the sides of the jar a couple of times. Put on the lid, but I don't screw it down all the way. Screw it about halfway because you want some air to be able to escape. And that's it. And we're back. It's actually been about 15 minutes, but whatever. Now we're going to really knead it, and this is where the different proteins can really stretch and get really worked out. And the kneading needs to happen for roughly 10 minutes. All right, it's been almost 10 minutes, and this is coming together to make a nice smooth dough. It is going to be pretty stiff, but it's still nice and smooth. So I'm going to shape this into a nice even ball. Put a little more of this oil in here, and then use my dough to just wipe it around on the sides. So the dough gets coated, the bowl gets coated, and everything's nice and smooth and well coated for the rise. Gonna cover this with this damp cloth again. House is kind of warm tonight, so I'm going to leave this on the counter. If it's a cooler night or the AC is running high, I would put this in the oven so that it's a more stable environment to let it rise overnight. Good morning, friends. It's been about 7 hours, so we're gonna check on that dough and go on to the next steps. There we go. Nice looking dough. So the next step is going to be breaking this down into individual pieces and forming the actual bagels. I have these 2 cookie sheets prepared with silicone mats. I'm gonna put a little bit more of this avocado oil on my hands just to keep the dough from sticking. And then I'm gonna take a piece of dough probably about the size of a clementine and cloak it. If you know much about bread making, cloaking is when you kind of tuck the ends under to make a nice neat ball. Do rolling action on the counter if you're not comfortable with cloaking, but you want a nice even smooth ball. And then you ruin it by sticking your fingers through the middle. Just gently, because you don't want to tear it. And then you shape it until it's even. This is going to rise significantly, but so you make the hole a little bit bigger than proportionally you'd like it. And there you go. And there we go. We have 14 bagels. We're going to re-dampen and cover these up with the cloth we used overnight and let these rise for about an hour. It's been about an hour, so I'm gonna check out these bagels in here. They're looking lovely, so we're gonna go ahead and pull them out. I'm gonna keep them covered while I get this water boiling and get the oven going on 425 degrees. This isn't full to the top, it's about half full because we're just gonna boil each bagel for about 40 seconds each. It doesn't need to be all the way full, but what we do need is baking soda. Once this comes to a boil, we're going to add a tablespoon of the baking soda to the boiling water, and that is what is going to help give the bagels that really true, authentic New York texture. The pot is boiling. I have this pan prepared over here with another silicone mat. I'm just sprinkling a little bit of cornmeal on it, and this will help absorb any excess water when the bagels are lifted out of the water. All right. I have one of these mesh basket spoons, which works really well, but you really can use anything to lift the bagels out. So the oven is almost preheated, the water is boiling and treated, and now we're gonna start carefully picking up these lovely proofed bagels. I can do about 3 at a time in my pot. And they're gonna go for about 20 seconds, and then we're gonna turn them over. And now they're gonna go for about 20 more seconds. And now we're just gonna lift them out and put them on the waiting cookie sheet. This process goes super duper quick, so I know it seems kind of a pain to take this extra step of boiling the bagels, but let me tell you, it is worth it in the texture, and it is so quick. And now while those last ones boil, I'm going to start sprinkling all of these with our everything but the bagel seasoning. We just get this from Costco. We love everything bagels, so it's just kind of how we do our own. You can do an egg wash on these. Just beat an egg and brush it on before putting the seasoning on. It's entirely up to you. And now they're all good to go. The oven is preheated. They're gonna go in for about 10 minutes. That is a pretty nice looking bagel. And those are our Saturday morning bagels. I'm gonna end this now so that we can go stuff our faces with delicious bagels. But thank you all for sticking around today. I will put the ingredients and such in the info box below in case you want to see it written out. Tell me if you all have any Saturday morning or Sunday morning or whatever breakfast traditions. This is definitely an unintentional one that came to be, but we are wholeheartedly embracing it because bagels. Give us a thumbs up if you like this video today, friends. Share it with anyone you think might find it useful, and we will see you again tomorrow.